Hello again. Now somebody just asked me recently a couple of times, and I have been asked in the past about tattoo machine frames. Now I can't show you how to make a tattoo machine frame in a few minutes, and I guess I learnt the hard way. I reverse engineered a frame just from a crappy Chinese machine. I don't even remember what it was. And I just figured, you know what, I can do better than this. I can make something a little bit better. So the frame is important. Without it, all the other bits would probably just fall on the floor. So a good place to start at the time was the base plate. Now, I was making my bases from just a bare straight piece of metal. I'll give you an example. There's a good example there. Okay. So that was what I was starting with, just that, and it wasn't carved out here. This was just a straight bit of metal. I did used to have a mill in this workshop. This one is made locally on a CNC, but I did used to make these myself here. Okay, and so that's what I basically started with. I started with just bare metal. Okay, and you've got to work out where the holes have got to go, size of the holes. They've got to be linear, so they've got to be in a straight line, obviously. And from there, this one's a bit rusty. I just found it. Very rusty that side. But as you can see the obvious difference. This one is straight. This one has the added bit here. So after a couple of machines using this bit, and I used to have to weld a little bit of weld here before I put the side plates on, and that would just bring them out past the coils, because if I just get a coil washer, you can see that the coil washer is pretty much the width of that base plate and a bit more. So when the side was on the machine, the coils were hitting the side. So the natural progression from that, okay, was to engineer that. Now, at this point, I have to say I wasn't the first person doing this, but I worked it out the hard way, worked it out for myself, and as I say, reverse engineered from another machine. So this was sort of Mark II of my base plate. So if I put the washer over there, you'll see that there's space here. Okay, so by having this little lip coming out by a couple of mil, there was room to then weld a side plate on there once you had it in the right position. Okay, so that's your base plate, which will eventually look something like that. Although this one was a very small one that I made many years ago, and then you've got to cross cut the slot here for the clamp, and then you drill a hole and thread it and stuff like that for the vice clamp. So now I get on to side plates. So typically, look, this is machine number 2 for this year. So this side plate I've made out of a couple of different spanners, okay? Now, my way of doing things, I use this, this is bolted on. Some machine builders or manufacturers, this is milled as one piece. I choose not to do that way. That's in a different video, the reason that I do that. But let's talk side plates just quickly. I want to get onto that because I don't want to make this video too long. Keep it under 10 minutes, okay? So now the importance of the side plate. Here's one of my as I say, that's number 2, and this is one of my original aluminium designs. This is one piece milled from aircraft grade aluminium. Okay, so the important thing here was that these holes are in the correct place. You don't want this one in the wrong place, so it's way up here and you've got a great big long contact screw. There's no need for that. It'll look a bit daft as well, a bit top heavy maybe, but on the other hand, you don't want it too short, you know, so that the spring's touching the contact post before it touches the contact screw, for example, which I've had have seen on a couple of machines that have been made wrong by other builders. It's very bizarre, but so effectively, when I've got to this point here, okay, this would then sit in a jig, and in that and I would have a mocked up coil cores and armature bar like that. Okay, I would sit that there like that, because that's effectively what it's going to be. That's where this hole's going to be, that holds this. Okay, and that lets me know the rough height of where I need to drill a hole for a contact screw. So then let me get a base plate. All right, a typical let's just use this one. Okay, so I would then put this into the this would then be bolted into the jig and lined up to where it needs to be to, there we go. So that's, see this bit at the back here, there, so that's covering that hole there, as you can see, and there's enough room at the top there. And so you have a little bit of space where you can move this backwards and forwards, but effectively you want to try and get this rear hole in the middle of the frame there. And I'm sorry if you can't see too much. And then, so I would then bolt that into the jig once I've got it in the correct place, possibly mark it with a marker pen just to make sure that, you know, if it gets moved, I can move it back again. And then that would be, I would just tack that quickly with a TIG weld. I used to use MIG welding, now I only TIG weld. Okay, it looks a lot neater. It's just, it does take a little bit longer, but it's just easier. And so let me just explain about the side plates quickly. So once I'd engineered the side plate and I knew where I needed the holes to be in that side plate, it effectively doesn't matter what shape and that side plate is. Now let me give you an example here, because I have several different machine shapes over the years that I've produced. Okay, and so here's a bunch of side plates all laid. They're not totally straight there, but you know what, it doesn't matter too much. I'll get them all. So they all sit over each other, so I could drill a hole through the whole lot of them there, and it would be lined up. And the same there as well. They would all be lined up. Let me turn that the other way round, and then you'll see that they all kind of, although the shape of each side plate is different, as you can see, there's one, it's a Walker style, there's that's what I call my original, that's just a lightweight, and there's a dog leg. But they sit over each other, okay? And those holes, if I had those holes drilled over those, although those frame shapes are different, all right, the holes would be in exactly the same place. And that's the important thing. For me, that was the important thing. So all of my frames, shapes, the side plate shapes, you could superimpose onto each other, and they would all line up. So it doesn't matter, you could drill holes in them, you can make them lighter, I could put them, I could do pretty much anything I wanted to. And I think over the years I've had 23 or 25 different frame shapes. Some very limited, maybe just 10 of each. Some I've done about 50 of each. So that's pretty much the frame. You know what, if you want to get into tattoo machine frame making, you've got to there's got to be a little bit of trial and error. Yeah, you're going to mess it up and you're going to make mistakes. I did, I don't deny that, but I got there in the end, and once I realised what I needed to do and what I had, then it all fell into place quite quickly, quite easily, and I've built several hundred machines from there. And they're all out there. So there we go, that's 10 minutes up. So like, share, subscribe, do what you got to do. I'm sure there's a button down below somewhere, but oh, look at that sign. Look, it says it all really. Okay, we'll catch up soon. Take care and stay safe. Thanks for watching.